Today on CityCast Nashville, with the recent announcement that beloved Hillsborough Village Cafe Fido is closing its doors, but don't worry, folks, you've got 3 years to get there before it's gone, we decided to take a look back at some of the other old Nashville businesses we miss. I'm joined by Nashville OGs, our host, Marie Cecile Anderson, and our newsletter editor, Margaret Kingsbury, and we're sharing our departed faves, as well as sharing some shout-outs from our listeners. It's Wednesday, November 5th. I'm your executive producer, Whitney Pasterok, and this is what Nashville's talking about. What I want to do is start this podcast by asking both of you if you could bring one and only one old Nashville business back, what would it be?
Should we say it together, Margaret?
I think I have a different answer, actually. I know what you're going to say,
goodness.
but I'm gonna shake things up with a different answer.
Okay. Well, I guess I'm pretty obvious then. I was going to say Opryland, USA.
You know, I loved Opryland. I loved it.
I think Opryland has gotten a lot of love. I think all of us who've moved here later in life are well aware of how much you all miss Opryland. Thank you. But I want to go a little deeper. Let's go to a deeper cut. Margaret, you said you were going to spice things up.
I am. But before I spice things up, did you know, well, I'm going to spice things up extra twice. Did you know we had an amusement park before Opryland?
Why would I know that?
Yeah. So my mom was texting me about Fair Park. So the Fairgrounds Nashville used to be a year-round amusement park, Fair Park. That's where my mom would spend all the time as a kid. And there was also a pool that was open during the summer, Cascades Plunge. And it was a public pool. She spent every summer there, and she said it was her favorite thing to do.
That sounds way cooler than NASCAR to me.
It does. It sure does. And, you know, we talk a lot about how there's not enough stuff for kids to do here in Nashville. Fair Park sounds amazing to me. And they had some roller coasters, too.
Really?
I think some wooden roller coasters, yeah.
I love this. Why is this gone? Bring this back. But what's your real thing?
So mine is a little bit of a heartbreaker, but I want to show you this story first. So imagine little Margaret in a store filled with old electronics, like beat up TVs, beat up radios. There was a library, microfiche. This was my grandfather's business on Dickerson Road called Bill's TV. He opened it up in 1959 or 1960. We're not quite sure. And it was there for decades. I would spend almost every school day that was out and the summers at this TV repair store. And my mom worked there too. She was the bookkeeper.
Margaret, can you fix a television?
No.
Oh.
There was an old typewriter. You'll like this story, Whitney. There was an old typewriter that I would pretend to be a journalist from New York City with.
Aww.
Yes. So I would sit up front with my mom and like type on it. And it was a really magical place. You know, I miss that. So if I could bring that back with my Gee Daddy, that would be perfect. That would be my pick.
So beautiful and so nostalgic. Marie, do you have anything that matches that level of charming, quaint nostalgia? I mean, I don't even think we have TV repair stores anymore.
Gosh.
Now you just chuck your big screen and get a new one.
You know, the only thing that came to mind is the Green Hills Blockbuster.
Aw.
Just how much time and energy we spent there as a family and with friends, picking out our VHS tapes to go home and watch. I mean, seeing Buffy the Vampire Slayer for the first time, I was like, I will be an actress.
Wait,
you know?
the movie? The movie? Buffy? With
yes.
Paul Rubens and the bad
Luke
overacting?
Yep.
I saw that movie at least 20 times. You said, I want to be an actor. And I said, I want to kill vampires. So we had slightly different reactions.
When I was a teenager, we also would go to Blockbuster. And there was a Little Caesars Pizza right next door. And that's what we would always pick up to go home with the videos. Was there like a local place that you would always pick up food for movie nights?
This is the saddest and deepest cut, I think, for my family is Pizza Perfect. Yes, it still exists in Nashville, but the one on Granny White Pike. So every Friday, TGIF, my family and I would either, go to Blockbuster, get something to watch, but then also watch Full House, Family Matters, all those shows for TGIF, and pick up a pizza from Pizza Perfect.
Margaret, what's your most nostalgic restaurant that's gone?
It would have to be Piccadilly's cafeteria. This is going to sound weird. Yeah.
Piccadilly's.
And before it was Piccadilly's, we went to the one out in Madison. It was Morrison's, which was also a cafeteria. And I would go with my grandparents. It was like what we do with my grandparents on Sunday.
What was the allure of this? Was it the Jell-O? It was the Jell-O, wasn't it?
I do remember the Jell-O. But honestly, I have trouble remembering. I just thought it was really cool that it was like a cafeteria, and you had the brown trays. And I was in charge of like picking out what I would eat. And I had this thing where I would try to eat more than the adults at the table because I was very tiny. I was always the tiniest kid in class and stuff. So I just try to like stuff it all in. I'd be like, I'm getting the steak and chow down.
That's fantastic.
I love it.
I don't know where it all went, but
straight to your brain. Straight to your brain. Well, we did ask the readers of our Hey Nashville newsletter that Margaret writes every single day, shows up in your inbox, if they had old Nashville businesses that they missed. And speaking of cafeterias, Nancy T shouted out the Belle Meade cafeteria at Belle Meade Plaza. She said it was a meet and three where sometimes you could see country stars. Nancy T also shouted out Sailmaker, where the servers dressed in costumes, and Shakey's Pizza, where you could watch the pizzas being made behind what felt like a huge window.
I do not remember these places, but I love a place where they dress up.
Yeah, I would have totally gone there.
Mm-hmm.
She also loved the old Harris Teeter by the Belle Meade Movie Theater. She said you could get $5 subs for lunch and cinnamon and raisin bread. Also, we used to have, I guess, way more movie theaters in this town.
So many.
Oh, yeah.
Where did y'all go see movies?
Nipper's Corner in Antioch. We'd get dropped off, go to Las Palmas, and then go to the movie theater there and chase boys.
I had 3 places. There was a place in Madison that had like $1 movie matinees. And then in Bellevue, there were 2 movie theaters. One is now a Royal Range. It got flooded and then they just...
Oh, yeah. I know where that is. Right off the highway.
Yep. The other one was, I think it was an old AMC. It's now a church, but it's over by close to the TJ Maxx in Bellevue. My sister and I would go and we buy like 1 movie ticket and then we just stay there the whole day. Going from,
you naughty girl.
I know. This was like one of the few things that I'm not supposed to do that I actually did because I was always a rule follower,
Where was the place once y'all first got control of the car? Where was it we're going, we're on our own, here we go?
I hate to say this, but malls.
Oh, yeah.
We all went to the malls.
Yes, actually.
Yeah.
Good answer. But R.I.P.
The Bellevue Mall was,
Harding Mall.
Yeah.
That was a good one.
And we have a whole episode on malls, our mall love.
Yes.
But yeah, for us, the closest one was Bellevue Mall, but also Rivergate because we were out in Madison a lot.
Well, I'm looking at both of your lists, and there's another thing you have in common, and that is bookstores.
Oh.
Marie, we already know how much you loved those old bookstores, and Margaret, obviously, you're a huge book lover, and we do still have some great indie bookstores now, but was there something different about the bookstores of the past? Was there something about Davis Kidd that was amazing, or is it just because it was the bookstore at the time?
It was gigantic. Davis Kidd in Green Hills. It was so large, and you could just hide from your parents for hours.
Yes.
And they would let you. I mean, we would go for hours, it felt like. They had a little cafe, too, so we'd go for lunch. Not even buy books and just go and read books. And then, I remember in junior high, they had magazines. And so I was really obsessed with reading magazines, but my parents wouldn't let me buy them.
Kids at home, if you're listening, a magazine used to be a periodical. It was printed on paper and it had pictures and long articles about stuff.
And quizzes.
It was like the internet, but on paper.
But on paper. Yeah, you couldn't swipe. But I think they had a puppet theater, a finger puppet theater area or something. There was play areas for kids.
Now when I take my daughter to a bookstore, I follow her around. But when I was a kid, it was just we all went in our different directions in the bookstore. And the perfect day would be when we went to Davis Kids and Bookstar. And Bookstar is in that old, it looks like a movie theater.
This is that old-timey movie theater across from Ascension St. Thomas West. It still has the movie tower on it, but I don't think there's anything in it.
There used to be just a lot of tiny used bookstores scattered throughout Nashville. I used to go to the Book Attic in Madison, and that's where I would find 25 cents Goosebumps books or the Babysitter Club's books and stuff like that.
What was the one in Hillsborough Village? It was like more of a used
Bookman, Bookwoman?
Yes. That was a really fun place to pop into. And then Provence bread store was nearby too.
Okay, we did have a reader write in. Dixie M wrote in to shout out Provence in Hillsborough Village. And I personally want to shout out, there used to be a Provence next to the downtown library. And that was my go-to for lunch before I even moved here, when I was just coming here as a country music reporter for a magazine. See how I brought that back? And when I came for work, for some reason, the magazine that I wrote for, because we had budgets, used to always make me stay at the Hermitage Hotel. That was like our one approved place. We were not bargain shoppers. So I would get to stay in our beautiful historic hotel, which I love that that's still there, but they have ruined the best thing about it by ripping out the Oak Bar and turning that into a bar that could literally be located anywhere. Now it looks like Los Angeles. And it used to be, you know, the dark wood paneled. You could picture the legislators coming over from the state capitol and drinking bourbon and smoking cigars and deciding how the sausage was going to get made. And I absolutely used to love that bar. It was my favorite place in Nashville. But modernity came along and ruined it. And I'll just be sad forever.
Every day, United Way of Greater Nashville brings our community together so every child, individual, and family in Middle Tennessee can thrive. Right now, 1.2 million Tennessee households are working hard, but still struggling to make ends meet. Nearly half of Davidson County families and a third in Williamson County live below the ALICE threshold. That's asset limited, income constrained, and employed. But did you know that last year alone, United Way partners helped meet nearly 500,000 basic needs across Middle Tennessee? That means thousands of Davidson County students started school with supplies this fall. And kids in Williamson County get free books each month, all thanks to the United Way and its supporters. Your workplace can be a part of supporting the United Way's vital work today. Because when employees give together, morale grows, businesses thrive, and Greater Nashville becomes stronger. Learn how your workplace can help at unitedwaygreaternashville.org/workplace-campaigns. Together, we're lifting up Middle Tennessee, meeting needs today and building stronger communities for tomorrow. I'm still very sad the spaghetti factory is gone.
Oh, yeah. I loved the spaghetti factory.
We went there for every birthday, and we got to sit in the trolley.
Are they bringing it back once they've cleaned up after the lizard guy?
Nope.
No, they're they're turning where it used to be into like temporary housing units, like rentals.
Yeah.
They're turning the old spaghetti factory building into Airbnbs?
Correct.
Yes, essentially, yes.
Yes.
Well, it's been wonderful reminiscing with both of you today.
That seems like the classic Nashville thing to do.
Yep. After a bomb on Christmas, we say goodbye to our beloved institutions and replace them with Airbnbs.
Oh, sometimes it is really hard to keep believing in Nashville, but we're going to do it.
Got to make room for those tourists.
I think the most unrecognizable part of town to me these days is Hillsborough Village. And I was going to say, at least we have Fido. But y'all, this just in, Fido, our beloved coffee shop that I've been going to since high school, it's been open for 3 decades, just announced that they will be closing June 1st, 2028. I have to get my tissues. It's so sad. I'm so bummed. But at least we have a couple more years to go enjoy Fido. So please go out and support before they close in the year 2028. We used to hang out there all the time in high school. That and Bongo Java. We'd go to Jackson's also. And I would always go to Pangea. Pangea, Whitney, was the coolest store. It had all your little knickknacks, but it wasn't like a crazy tourist store. It was meant for locals. Like the prices were really affordable. It was where I got all like Christmas presents and things.
I admit it was a little out of my price range. I would go in there and look because they had so many cute like things in there, but I usually didn't buy. I've always been more of a thrift antique girl, but I got pregnant 7 years ago and then you have a baby and you don't go anywhere. And then 2 years after that, was COVID. So I essentially just didn't go anywhere for this long amount of time. And then when I got back, all the places I used to go to find these deals had closed. So like there was the Tennessee Antique Mall that was over close to the fairgrounds. It was a giant antique mall, thousands and thousands of square feet. of randomness, and I loved going there. There was 8th Avenue Antiques. We used to go to that one, and really close to it was the downtown antique mall, so we'd like park and just walk and hit both of them. Designer Renaissance in Berry Hill was where I'd get super cute clothes. Like I got a Betsy Johnson leather jacket for under $10.
Wow.
Yeah, a Kate Spade little black dress for under $10. I can't wear any of these things anymore because something else changes after you have a kid. And that's your body shape. But I've just saved them for when Marion gets older in case she wants to wear these cool things. But yeah, I kind of don't know where to go, except for this and that thrift. I do like that place, but like...
It does feel like the whole, like, is it thrift or is it vintage? And if it's vintage, the cute Betsy Johnson leather jacket is now $75.
Right.
Exactly.
Another thing in the shopping category, Marie, that you wanted to shout out, and this takes me back, was the Tower Records on West End.
We, as a youth group, would go there instead of having youth group. We would just go to Tower Records.
Just to the contemporary Christian section? Like just to pick out Amy Grant and Susan Ashton records? Like what was the
No, we were
play
looking
here?
at like REM, Nine Inch Nails. So like our older counselor people would be sharing their music with us and expose us to that. And then I remember one time they asked us for youth group to come in with your favorite song. And so I picked out a record from Tower and brought in REM, Everybody Hurts.
Wow. But what a good thing to pray on.
A lot of church growing up here in Nashville, that's for sure.
A lot of church.
Let's
look at a couple more of these shout outs from our readers. Katrina wanted to shout out the Silly Goose, saying we could walk there from our house and loved grabbing their sandwiches and eating them at home. It was a complete shock when they closed suddenly without warning. Their food was so good. And then Heidi C. was also a big sandwich lover, wanted to shout out Slice of Life, which was in Midtown in the 90s, saying it was the best veggie sandwich ever.
Oh.
I think we're doing okay on sandwiches, but I still understand that nostalgia for like, that's the best sandwich of my life and now it's gone.
I'll always love you, Bread and Company.
And Emily L. also wanted to shout out JJ's Market and Cafe, which was like a mini convenience store / coffee shop / wine bar with games. And it was open at night. It was a place you could go study, hang with friends, get a snack that was casual and not strictly alcohol focused. Sometimes they had live music. It felt like part of the old Nashville that I really miss.
It seems like we need a place like that too.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, a place that I miss, and let's bring this slightly more into the modern times so that transplants in the last 15 years can feel like they're a part of this episode. Rudy's Seafood and Sausage. It was exactly what it sounds like. I believe it was owned by the people behind Mitchell Deli. And they had incredible seafood and sausage. But what I liked more than that was their back patio was always having jazz and live music in some way. They always had great drink specials. They would always do crawfish boils. Like I was so fond of going and hanging out on that back porch. And that didn't make it through COVID. What are some more recent places that y'all miss?
Well, another that didn't make it through COVID, Chinatown. And Chinatown had been around for decades in Green Hills. It was a staple for so many, and it was so sad when it closed. I do believe that they have opened it in another location. I've heard that it's just not the same.
I used to eat there.
Was it a buffet?
No, it
No.
was just like your typical Chinese white tablecloth,
They have tea. They would serve tea.
free
in
tea,
like
and then a lazy Susan in the middle. And so we would get, hold your applause, the poo-poo platter. And as children, oh my God, we would take turns who got to say it to the waiter. But we would get the poo-poo platter and it would come like with the bottom was on fire and you could cook some of the skewers over the fire. And as a child, it was like, oh my God, this is the greatest thing ever. And then as we grew older, you know, our taste buds changed from the poo-poo platter to more like cashew chicken, and we would get even crazier with recommendations and things. And I mean, I think growing up in Nashville, we weren't really exposed to ethnic foods except Chinatown. I mean, I remember having sushi for the first time in high school.
The city has definitely become very shiny. Just in the 12 years that I've lived here, you know, I recently wrote that article for the website about what's still local in 12 South. So let's wrap this up in the midst of this shininess with so many people and brands coming in from the outside to capitalize on us being Nashville. What is your favorite thing that is still here?
You know what? I'm going with the library. One of my earliest childhood memories of Nashville, if not the earliest childhood memory I have of Nashville, is going to the Nashville Public Library. It was the downtown branch when it was somewhere different. I'm actually not sure where it was.
It was at 8th and Polk.
I peeped into a little hole and there were mice, and they still have the mice in the downtown library branch.
Oh, the little mice. I remember that.
I think that might be my earliest memory of Nashville. Oh, and my mom wanted to share one too. So my mom says in Shelby Park, there was a ferry called Clee's Ferry. Oh. So as a kid and a teen, she would ride the ferry across the river to downtown Nashville.
What?
Across the Cumberland.
Oh.
What?
Clee's Ferry.
What?
Why can we not have this back?
Why did that disappear?
I don't know. I would love to have ferries going across the river.
I think that sounds amazing.
Like if I could
And
ride
right at Shelby Park.
If I could ride my bike to the Shelby boat ramp, get on a ferry and be taken to downtown, that would be phenomenal.
Well, my mom wanted to shout out Textile Fabrics in Berry Hill. My mom was a big sewer, made most of our clothes and stuff.
That closed recently.
Very sad that one's gone. She wanted to shout
but I love that
out.
your moms wanted to shout things out. Okay, Marie, you still need to tell us the one thing that is here still that you're most thankful for.
I know, this is such a hard question, but I think I'm going to go back to the Nashville Children's Theater and the fact that Marion took a theater summer camp just this summer, because that's listeners of the pod know that I had my start on stage as a piece of seaweed in The Little Mermaid when I was 5 years old, just flailing my arms and thought it was the greatest thing in the whole wide world and wanted to continue that throughout my life. And so it can be traced back to the Nashville Children's Theater. And the fact that it's still there and still having the summer programs and school year programs, same building also. I mean, it's a really special place.
It's the oldest children's theater in the nation.
Well, it was such a huge part of my growing up here. Not only just going to the camps and things, but field trips. Like, oh man, when we got to take off school and go see a play at the Nashville Children's Theater, it was the best day ever. Although I do have a memory where my dress got caught in the seat and the whole class got up and left me there. I couldn't get my dress out of the seat and it ripped. And I had to hold my dress shut so nobody could see my butt. You wonder why I went into comedy, you know?
Yeah, no, it all makes sense
It's
now, for sure. We want to thank everybody who wrote in with their great memories and shared those with us. And hey, listeners at home, if you've got more that we didn't tackle, email us, nashville@citycast.fm. We might revisit this episode down the road because there's clearly a whole lot still to talk about. And I just love hearing these stories. So Marie, Margaret, thanks for sharing the best parts of growing up here with us. That's all for today here on CityCast Nashville. If you're thinking about closing one of our favorite businesses, just don't. Just ask us first. We'll try to help. And don't forget, you can support this show and get great perks by becoming a CityCast Nashville neighbor at membership.citycast.fm. If you enjoyed the show, why not tell your friends? Rate the show, leave us a review, and subscribe to our Hey Nashville newsletter. We'll be back tomorrow morning with more news from around the city. Y'all take care of each other.